And we would like to welcome you to another edition of Talking To. I am your host, Rufus Bill, on this beautiful sunny day in the city of Detroit. The time is 4:02 p.m. and it is official. It is Mother's Day 2022. And we would like to say to all of the mothers everywhere under the sound of my voice, Happy Mother's Day. For everything that you've done, everything that you do, we salute you today. We know it's not an easy task on being a mother, and some of you make it seem and appear so very easy when we know that it is so very challenging to to be a mother, to be responsible for your children, to um, give your children the certain tools and the things that they need to be successful, not even now in this part of their life if they're younger, but even as they enter adulthood and even beyond early adulthood, 18, 19, 20, 21. There's so many things that you learn, so many things that mothers do when rearing their children in an effort to make you a better person. And so we just don't want to take that lightly. And we want to just say, today is your day. Maybe some of you could be at a restaurant in the long lines or at the table waiting to be served. Some of you may be at the beach, the park, the gym. Some may just be at home with their legs propped up, watching their favorite television show. Well, whatever it is, and however you're spending your day, you enjoy it. And an FYI for you, some of you mothers who may expect, hear me carefully, who may be expecting your child or your children to call, or if you're in the same area to come by, or you may be expecting them to send a gift and you're disappointed because you haven't hit a home run. It's been a strike and you're out on all three things that I said. Don't even worry about it. Don't even concern yourself if your child has not said Happy Mother's Day, or if you and your child are feuding, or if your child is feuding and you don't even know what the heck they doing. Don't get caught up in worrying about what they have not done or what they are not doing. Don't fuss with them. Don't argue with them. Don't fight with them. Just act like it's nothing happening since nothing is happening. I heard a mother when I was working at WQBH Radio many moons ago, and we were planning for our annual Mother's Day fashion extravaganza. And this was a yearly event that the station did when Martha Jean, the Queen, one of her outings for the community. And I was interviewing one of the special mothers who was being saluted at the event, and I asked her this question: what would you say to mothers to encourage them? And she said, "Don't expect nothing." She was a Southern mother, and she was a seasoned mother. She had that twang in her throat. She said, "Don't expect nothing from your children." I was taken by that, but she went on to say, "Because your children didn't ask to come here." She said, "This is something that you wanted, or that mothers wanted, or that the parents wanted, was to procreate and have children." She says, "But what we have to learn to do, what mothers must learn to do, is to do things without expecting any return in terms of your children being grateful, and full of gratitude. I know that you probably know someone, you may have a friend, or it could be you, that you've done a lot for your children. You've given them the best. You've provided a roof over their head. You've provided their needs and wants, sacrificed buying the Calvin Klein jeans and the the name brand everything, Polo, Ulo, Hulo, all know. However, if they don't appreciate it, or if they just have not learned how to be grateful and thankful, don't sweat it. You did what you were responsible for doing. And that's all you can do, is be required to do what you're supposed to do. And that's providing a stable home for them. Anything other than that, the food, the shelter, the clothing, what's that? Maslow hierarchy, those things that provide a safety net for children. That's all you require. Now, going out buying extravagant things and cars and expensive phones, that's just something you do if you can do it. But if you can't do it and you're just supplying just the basics, and they're not grateful, they have seemed not to be grateful as they become older, what can you do? Because it's free will. That's right. It's free will. And the child is not obligated to the parent. Now we know the Bible says, out of their father and their mother, that their days will be long upon the land of that the Lord God giveth thee, and paraphrase that. We know what that word says, but we also know that everyone is an individual and everyone does things in their own time. So this is what you have to grow in, this consciousness. Because when you go back and look at investments that you've made for your child, college or private schools, whatever it is that you've done for your children, you might get a little salty, mother. Mama, you might get upset and have some few choice and select words for your children. But there's nothing that you can do about it other than keep that head up, know that you've done your best, and move it along. I'm having a little technical difficulty, and I need to and you have to go along with however it decides to do, and whatever it decides to deliver. That's what you have to go along with. Mother's Day 2022. What are you doing? You can also always, join us in our comment section, and we will love to hear from you. Maybe you want to share some things about your mom, and or some experiences that you've had as a mother, rearing your children, and especially if you're a mother in today's time. And when I say today's time, within the last 5 years, and you're dealing with what you're dealing with in terms of the world as you try to maneuver and navigate and rear your children. So maybe you would like to share some things, of information, or some great tips that you've received on how to be an effective mother. And with that, we would like to welcome our own Joanne Tolson Fuller. Happy Mother's Day, Joanne.
Hey, Rufus, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I
That
cannot
is,
complain. What a beautiful day.
isn't it beautiful?
A beautiful day out here.
It is so beautiful.
Yes, it is.
God has smiled on this day for you and other mothers to
Yes.
enjoy.
Thanking God for another Mother's Day.
How about that? So what has gone on so far with you on Mother's Day, Joanne?
You know what? Today has been a relaxing day. We went to the mall and did some shopping and went over to my son's house, and it's been a good day. It's been a good day. Yeah, and at home relaxing for the rest of the day. I can't complain. taking it one day at a time. I'm telling you. I can't believe my son is 30 years old. Woo.
Is he?
He'll be 31 this year. I always tell him, I said, how you 30 gonna be 31 when I'm only 39? I think you need to change that. So I might change it to 49.
Maybe. You need to stop at 39. Like Jack Benny.
I'm telling you. Be 39 with how many years experience? And I'm not telling, but 39 with so many years experience.
There it is, right there. A 39 and a plethora. How about that one? Yes, so I don't know if you know, or if our viewers, if they know that Mother's Day was started in the early 1900s, and it was started after the death. It was started by a daughter after she lost her mother, as her mother transitioned. I think maybe 1909,
something like that. Yes.
Yeah, the last name was Jarvis, and that's how it began. She did it just to honor.
But it's something how, and it shows you how much power we as a community and we as a people have, because she started that with her mom, but it became a national holiday after that. And how much influence do you have that you can just go by something that you feel that you're trying to honor someone, and now it's a national holiday, and it's the largest, they say it's the largest holiday as far as phone calls and internet usage and all of that. It's the largest holiday of the year.
Didn't realize that.
Yes. More phone calls go through on Mother's Day than any other day of the year.
Wow. I can remember being a child and hearing mothers being excited about Mother's Day and having the opportunity to speak to their children or to see their children. And
yes,
and we would, in some cases, you would, if you were at home, and you would see the family coming over to visit their moms. It was just a festive festive time. But you know, a lot of that, since times have changed, it, the Mother's Day doesn't always now seem to go or seem to be what is expected.
True.
I was talking to someone earlier today, and she was talking about that she had heard from her mother, because she and her mother were not, they were at odds for an unknown reason. She had no idea, and I think it's been 2 years since they've really spoken to each other,
Wow. Wow.
and it really bothered her. And when I talked to her, she said she heard from her mother, and she was so excited because she has continuously, reached out to her
Reached
mom,
out. Okay.
and the mother just ignored her.
Mm.
And it was hurtful to her. But
Okay.
I told her in the past, I said, well, you can't push it, you can't rush it,
Right.
and you just have to go with the flow. And
Right.
because that's all you can do. You can't.
That's
It's nothing you can do if you can't do anything. If it's out of your
that's all
hands,
you can
to
do.
fix.
It's
Definitely,
pray and continue to, to move forward. At least you can say, I'm trying.
you're trying. That's
I'm
right.
trying.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and we would also like to say good afternoon to the, I guess, our in-house resident. Uh, what should we say, Joanne?
Our
He's
in-house resident
hobnob. He's
past
a
that thank you. He's the
he,
pastor, he's our pastor, he's our
our
protector, he's our
protector. He's a hobnobber.
yes, yes,
Justin,
he is.
good afternoon.
Just all
Y'all
of
are
that,
funny, okay?
all of
Y'all
that.
are hilarious. Good afternoon, talking
Good
to nation. Good
afternoon.
afternoon, Joanne and Rufus. I'm
Good
loving the beard,
afternoon.
man. I got the salt and pepper beard going on. I see you. I see
And
you.
let me tell you all both, and everybody else who's listening and watching, a friend of mine that's always said, you need to embrace that gray in your beard. I said, man, and he said, you're always trying to stay young. I said, no, that's not what it is. I just said it doesn't complement my skin tone. I said, so that's why I don't ever grow it out. And so he dared me. He said, I bet you won't grow it out and wear it. I said, well, what's the financial
Gain.
gain of me doing this? That's the only reason why it's here. But thank you,
Oh, but
Justin.
it does look nice. I
Yeah,
like it. It does look
yeah, I
nice.
see it. I see it.
You see it? It's
Yeah.
it's pronounced on both sides. Good God
Oh
today.
yeah.
Hold
Wow.
me, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, but some people can't even grow a beard. So some people
Uh-oh.
jealous,
That's the
just off
truth.
that. So
Well, we'll let that be at that.
Yeah.
So before we continue about our Mother's Day,
Mhm.
Joanne, we have got to get an update on two things from Justin. First
Yes.
of all, last
Yes.
week, Justin was unable
Yes.
to be here because he was hobnobbing
Yes, he
at,
was.
at the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner.
Yeah.
And so just catch us up. What did you see? First of all, what did you expect, and
Okay.
how were your expectations delivered?
So, I didn't know really what to expect. This is the first time I ever been to something of this magnitude. I didn't
Okay.
know what to
Okay.
expect. I had an open mind. I had a real open mind, and I would say I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Dr. Anthony said that he wanted to bring Hollywood to the hood, as he stated. And he did. He did. They had the red carpet out there. You were able to walk on the red carpet. They had celebrities there. The ones that I know was Jacob from Greenleaf. I don't know his real name, but Jacob from Greenleaf was on there. Angela Yee, who I love, she's on the Breakfast Club. She was there. So they had this red carpet. It really made me feel like I was at the Grammys or somewhere or something. So that was pretty cool. And then the dinner, the food was okay. It wasn't nasty. The food was good. And the food was good. It wasn't nasty. They
Okay.
had like some chicken and grits, which I've had fish and grits. I've had shrimp and grits, but I had never had chicken and grits. They had chicken and grits,
Was it
vegetables,
fried
and
chicken?
no, it was like baked chicken.
I've never had
It was
baked
like
chicken and grits.
baked chicken and
Me
grits.
either.
It was pretty good, and they had
It was good.
gravy and like mixed vegetables, something like that. So the food was good. And then so it's a lot going on. It's a whole
Mhm.
bunch of stages. That was like overwhelming because it's like so many stages with prominent people sitting on these stages or whatever. And it's like you don't know where they're the person talking from, but you hear them talking. And so the mayor spoke, Wayne County executive spoke, the governor spoke, Congressman Gary Peters spoke, Congresswoman, what's her name? I always forget the lady name. It's an older white lady. I always forget her name.
Debbie Stabenow?
Um, I always forget her name.
Debbie
Um,
Stabenow?
Debbie Stabenow. She
Hmm.
spoke, and it was a common thing. The common thing was voter rights, and protecting voter rights, and understanding that I guess Republicans, as they say, are doing different things to get in the way of that voter suppression, as they call it. So that was the common thing, and then they gave away some awards. Of note, there was an award given to the guy who was fired from Amazon. I can't recall his name, but
Really?
yeah, he
Okay.
was fired from Amazon, and he started the labor union
Right.
of Amazon workers, and has been successful in that work. So they highlighted him. They gave him an award, and it was cool. Like I said, it's overwhelming as far as just like, whoa, you go into this big hall and there's tables everywhere. Thank God they had ushers to walk you to your seat, because it's like, okay, table what? And now these tables, like, how am I ever going to find it? You know, but it's somewhere that if you're looking to network, if you're looking to, you never know who you sit next to, you never know who's in the room. And the thing that I liked about it was I felt Black excellence from it. And
Did you?
I think that I did. And I think that this is probably something I'm going to do every year, because of the Black excellence, just being in a room with a bunch of Black people who, are like-minded in many ways, who are,
Mhm.
trying to do different things, is a feeling like none other. I tell you, the only thing close to ever to the atmosphere of what I feel was that of going to a historically Black college, university, going to
Okay.
Morehouse, Vilman, Clark, Atlanta, and those different schools. There was this thickness in the air that you really can't explain, but feels like home, and that was there,
Okay.
that was present. And then they had the after party, right? So you had the party or the dinner, which at the
Mhm.
dinner, formal dinner, different things like that, red carpet, and then you had this after party at the Rooster Tail. I might add that the Rooster Tail, at least the last time I've been there, it's been updated. It's nice. I mean, it's always been nice, but it's
Right.
really nice now.
It's
They've
modern
done some,
now.
Yeah.
yeah, they did some major
Mhm.
updates to Rooster Tail, and it was just so like they had 313 the live experience, which is one of the baddest bands in
Yes.
Detroit. They
Yeah.
usually, I don't know if
Yes,
they're
it
still there,
is.
but they usually at Baker's on Tuesdays, Baker Keyboard
Mhm.
Lounge, and Floods on Thursday
And
nights. But
floods.
yep, Ali Keys, Angela Davis. I mean, they're one of the premier
I
bands that the
love
city has
Angela
to offer.
Davis. Yes.
Hmm.
They were phenomenal. So you got the
And they've
band
been
going
doing it
on.
for a while.
Yeah, yep.
Hmm.
They played the whole
Yeah.
from time I walked in, and then I mean it just made you feel like I don't know where I felt like I was at. I said on Facebook that I felt like I was the new Uncle Phil from I don't know if y'all seen the Fresh Prince, the new Fresh Prince,
The
but
new fresh,
the new
yeah.
Uncle Phil, he got this Black excellence going on. He's a man of stature. He's an alpha. He's this big primetime lawyer, and it didn't matter what you are, what you did, what your profession was. Everybody was just warming and glad to see you, and they had the staff walking around with hors d'oeuvres and finger foods. I mean,
Mhm.
every second asking you, do you want another one? I mean, the excellence was that of something I would expect of being at the president or something, or being at the
Okay.
president's ball or something like that. Yeah, it was really nice. And then you had these people or these big wigs just walking around. So, it was easy to have,
And hands raised.
conversations with people.
Hmm.
I had a very interesting conversation with the Wayne County Sheriff. Now, he's somebody that I know, but it's just that if you didn't know him and you wanted to know him, you know, he was there, and
He's right
it
there.
wasn't like he didn't have some entourage, he didn't have some security. No, it was him. So if you wanted to rub elbows and have conversations, you could. And that was the great thing about it. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to become a regular attendee. I think I'm just going to go ahead and become a member because I really did enjoy myself.
You know, Chuck Bennett was the one that was hosting the after party at the Rooster Tail, and the Shadith brothers, who are the owners of the Rooster Tail. And in their planning for this after party, that was one of the goals, to make everyone feel welcome. And you know, last week, Joanna and I were discussing, while you were hobnobbing, about the size of the room and how many tables and stages. And so since I've attended, they now have ushers. Now, I don't know about you, Joanne, when you went, if they had any ushers, or unless they just saw me and said, "Don't help him," because I was, I was like, "Where am I?"
No, they went the last. I think it was probably maybe 3 years ago. The last NAACP that I was at, and they did have ushers to escort you to tables, and you know, at least let you know where you're supposed to be going, where you're supposed to be sitting, and all of that. Yeah, they did. And I just hate I missed it. Ooh, I hate I missed it.
I know that's what she said last week.
I have to renew my membership because my card expired, all that kind of stuff. So I have to, you know, and it's been COVID for the past 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think I did. I know I didn't go the year before, so I think I've missed like 3 years, and I don't think they had it during COVID.
Right.
They didn't. They did what they did, but it was at Dr. Anthony's church. And it was like invite only. It wasn't open to the public. It was like the more, And I think she said it was like probably 100 people were there or something. The executive director, I've connected with her, and so she was telling me there was like 100 people. But it was something I wanted to say about the dinner that was interesting to me. Oh, there was no keynote speaker.
You know what?
And we were looking for. We were
looking for the keynote speaker.
Yeah,
there's always been a keynote speaker.
Yeah.
No, so each person, so like I said, Dr. Will Anthony, he spoke for a long time, but he gave a good message to the people. The mayor spoke, the governor spoke, the congressmen and women spoke, and different things like that. But more so just briefs, and it was almost like a Democratic Party rally or something. I mean, that was the vibes of these speeches.
And that's a different vibe for them. And I noticed when you made that picture at the after party, and I looked at the time, I said, he's there awfully early. And that's probably because they didn't have a keynote speaker.
Because usually they do all those other speeches and awards and a keynote speaker.
Yeah, I thank God there was no keynote speaker this year.
Did they start on time?
It did. It did. Now, I'm going to be honest. I arrived like an hour late. I think it started at 5. I got there at 6. But when I got there, there was still droves of people coming in. And shout out to the whoever organized and coordinated. It was done well and in excellence. It was just an overall good event. There was no hassle with getting in or anything. The ushers were right on time. The only knock that I had was they had this beautiful red carpet, but the lighting for the red carpet sucked. It was almost like if you wasn't, it was only like one, because they had a whole bunch of like backdrops with the NAACP logo on it. It was almost like if, I don't know, they were pointed the wrong way or something like that, but it was dark. It was dark. Oh, wow. And so, yeah, I had to go back and take pictures a second time. So the picture that I posted, if you look on my Facebook, that's me standing in the center of the red carpet, you know, blocking air, you know, traffic to get my picture. You know,
you get a single picture.
Justin said he gonna get his picture.
He gonna get his.
I gotta get my picture one way or another. Y'all, you just gonna have to hold on 1 second. 1 second.
That's funny. Well, we'd like to say congratulations to Dr. Wendell Anthony and the entire team at the NAACP, or they don't call it the NAACP anymore. I think they say NAACP Detroit branch, and the successful Freedom Fund dinner. Yeah. Also, before we took our break, guys, before we came back on, I should say, we were talking about the upcoming draft and the
Mhm.
position that the Detroit Lions would be in and to get a player. And so we know we were going to talk about some of that last week
Mhm.
from Justin. So what's going on with the draft? Joanne, have you been following it?
No, I haven't. No,
Okay.
I have
I
not.
followed it slightly. I just don't remember any of the name, but the guy is from Michigan, right? Or U of
Yeah,
M?
Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson. So
Yeah.
what's going on with that draft?
So let me first start off by saying big ups to the Detroit Lions organization and to the Detroit Pistons organization because the Detroit Pistons are one of the few NBA teams that have a black manager and a black coach. So that's big, especially in the NFL. The Lions doesn't have a black coach, but they have many black assistant coaches on their staff, and they are one of the few organizations that have a black general manager. I believe the only other black general manager is Baltimore Ravens, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Baltimore Ravens is the only organization that employs a black general manager that runs the team. Now, I had to say that because I feel like out of all these years, and I think I've said this before, I feel like the Lions finally got it right. They didn't hire a forward. They didn't hire somebody who worked for the forwards or who were tied in some way. They actually went and they found somebody. They found somebody who's never been a GM before, but who has been a scout
Mm.
before with the Rams, who is a black man, very charismatic, very serious, from a HBCU, North Carolina A&T. He graduated, and he is turning this ship in the right direction. From the draft last year and the draft this year, he made some good moves. So we drafted Aiden Hutchinson, number one, overall, and then we traded up to 12th, and we got Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams was a standout receiver from the University of Alabama,
Okay.
However, in the championship game, he tore his ACL. I believe that if he had not tore his ACL, he would have been the number one receiver that came off the board. So from that injury, many people passed on him. The Lions traded up and they got him at his age and his talent. Times are different. ACL injuries heal different than they do years ago. I think he'll be good. So when you look at, we got two playmakers. Aiden Hutchinson made a difference at the University of Michigan. We look at Jameson Williams. He made a difference at the University of Alabama. We talking about, we got two of the top 10 players in the NFL draft. And not only that, he addressed the defense. And he did something that he went after football guys. I think the last administration that the Lions had, they tended to pick people from being the smartest one in the room. Okay, I'm the smartest one in the room. And so I think this guy is going to work because he has these intangibles. And they went out and they drafted football players, people that produced. And we also selected another guy from an HBCU. And I don't know if you guys know this, but over the last 3 years, there's been a drought. There has been no players taken in the NFL draft that come from a
Yes.
historically black college. Well, this year they had 3 players taken, so that's what's up. And the Lions took one of them from Jackson State University.
Wow.
They call him the problem, and he actually started his career at Florida, University of Florida. I don't know what happened in there, but he ended up transferring. He went to Jackson State, and the numbers that he put up is just magnificent. I mean, if he played at a bigger conference, on a bigger set in a bigger school and put up those same numbers, he by far would have probably been the number one pick in the draft. But we know that HBCU talent in that league is different than our Power 5 conferences. So I hope that he comes into the NFL and bring that same work ethic and prove to everybody that he is a force to be reckoned with. But the Lions is giving him that opportunity.
So I want to say to all of those people, upstarts who have started your little, what do you call it, your little podcast and things like that, you don't have a Justin Hearn. We have our own resident sportsman.
I'm
Now I'm
telling
gonna
you.
say Reggie Reg. Now he has it all together like we do, but he's one of few. So now y'all take that. Add that to y'all playbook and get a sportsman on. Don't try to come and get ours. But I tell you one thing for sure: by them picking someone from a historical Black college, I'm sure is going to increase the amount of Black people
Yeah.
who are going to, if no more, view the game as, or even go to the game. That's going to
Yeah.
stimulate a whole lot of energy, and especially, with the younger demographic, seem like,
Yeah,
oh my God,
so Deion Sanders,
yes,
Deion Sanders, he's the head coach of Jackson State, and
exactly,
since taking over, he's turned that program around, and we have seen top tier recruits. I mean, number one, with offers from Alabama, this was last year, with offers from Michigan, offers for LSU. He's chosen not to go to those schools and to go to the historical Black college. So Deion Sanders, in his bold move, is putting HBCUs on map, on notice, and now you're going to see already ESPN are picking up some of their games, and so this is big. And as long as top recruits keeps coming there, two things are going to happen: either more people are going to go to historically Black colleges, or
right,
sooner or later you're going to have Florida State, which is Deion Sanders alma mater.
I'm a
You're going to
model.
have one of these big Power Five conferences going to go hire him, and at that point, I mean, I it would be, you want to play on the biggest level. It's like saying, do you
Of
want to play
course,
in the Canadian Football League or in the American Football? Well, the American Football League is bread and butter. So
Right.
unfortunately, there's only a matter of time, I feel like, before Deion Sanders leaves. But he still would have put them on the map, and he still would have brought some recognition and got them some money, because ESPN, that's dollars. That's
that's the
dollars
money
for the
maker.
school.
Definitely,
That's right.
definitely.
That's
Well,
right.
well, we wanted that update from you on both of those subjects. And once again, you can comment. Just go right into the chat room, and I would like to thank those who are there who are making comments. Go into the chat room and chime in with us. It's our Mother's Day 2022, and Joanne, Justin, and Rufus, and we're here. And this Brian gave you the update from the event last week with the Freedom Fund dinner and about the local branch of the NFL. Now, and getting ready for this particular show, I was doing research, Justin and Joanne,
Mhm.
about mothers, that over 50% of women that are in the correctional system are
Mm.
mothers.
Mm.
Yes.
And I had never really thought about mothers incarcerated. I don't know if the two of you have. Justin, maybe you could have, possibly because of your line of work,
Mhm.
but it just never dawned on me. Mothers being locked away. We always think men and just say, oh, okay. But when you think about mothers that are away from their children, and some who will be away for a lifetime, that
Yeah.
are are just imprisoned, and
Yeah.
I was saddened by it because I know the child needs the mother, because
Hmm.
they look to the mother to help mold and to shape, but for a mother to be separated from their child, I
Yeah.
can't even put that into words. And Joanne, I mean, you're not separated from your son, but as a mother, can you kind of paint a picture of what they may be experiencing, being locked away and separated from the child?
You know what? I can I paint that picture? No, I really can't, because I have not had that experience. Only, I
Mhm.
mean, I've experienced my son going away to
In
college, going
college,
away,
right?
living and then staying down there, living in the South, and now he's back here. But to not have access, I can't fathom that.
Hmm.
I really can't. And it's sad. And it's sad also, the mothers who give birth to their children in prison.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's sad also. And then they have to give them up. They have to give them away. They have to, or if someone does not in the family, that if they don't have, if they
Hmm.
have family members that can take the child. If not, then they're in the system, in
Hmm.
that foster care system. So it's I could not imagine that. And I'm sure, especially if you are maternal,
Yes.
if you are maternal within you, and we know that all women are not maternal,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have that maternal instinct.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are, and you, I'm sure that is so hard and devastating to give birth to this, to be
Mm-hmm.
separated from someone that you gave birth to.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
What
Yeah.
do you think, Justin?
I think that's tough. I think that's so tough. It's something that I feel like if we can prevent, we should prevent. However, we know that when people do things that leads them to prison, that's what it is. But I never really thought about it until I found out that my cousin's best friend, her mother is in prison. I think her mother was given like 20 something years, and I see her make posts and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it first really came to my attention that was a real thing, because I guess I never really thought about mothers being away from their children and being in
Right.
prison, but it's happening, and it sucks. And I wish, I don't know, what we do for mothers that are in prison during Mother's Day. But if we could do anything for them to see their children or different things like that, I think we should advocate for it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I believe that.
And even regardless of what the crime was,
You're still a mother.
it's still a
You're
mother.
still a mother, and fathers are important too. But it's something about giving birth to that child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That you actually, that child came out of you, from you,
Yes.
and yeah,
Yeah,
it's
And that
sad.
separation.
tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Our I had to write a paper the other week, and China, in population doubles us, right? Or if
Yeah.
not triples us, the population. But yet we double and triple the amount of incarcerated people than they have. I mean, when you think about that, when you really just think about that, I mean, we putting a lot of people in jail. A lot of people are behind bars, and that's
Mhm.
just has become the American way that needs to be dealt with. Not only there are mothers, and I know it's Mother's Day. Not only is mothers behind bars, but there's a lot of fathers behind bars.
Mhm.
There's a lot of sons and daughters behind bars, and the prison system, although it's necessary in some capacities, but I think that we've criminalized people for being sick. We've criminalized people for a lot of different reasons, and every crime that's committed is not always you don't need to be criminalized. Some people need help. Some people need,
Punishable.
yeah, they
Mhm.
need different. They need something else
Right.
than being confined to a prison. So I just think that
Right.
as a whole, we gotta do better. And I thank you for bringing that up, because I didn't realize how near and dear this was to me. So I guess whenever I become a politician, I think prison reform will be the subject matter of my heart. So
Okay.
thank you for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And check is in the mail, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, most certainly, most certainly.
But I think about the difficult time that I had when I left Detroit
Mhm.
and I went to Adelphi Academy. Adelphi Academy was a Christian boarding school, Justin.
Mhm.
And so the being away from the only thing that I had known,
Mhm.
my parents, and although we were still in the state of Michigan, it was hard for me to adjust,
Mhm.
at least for the first 6 months, being away, and Alice was coming up to the school almost like every other weekend, coming to get me so that I could be home and have that environment that I was most comfortable in.
Mhm.
And when I was thinking about that earlier today, that separation compared to a separation from your mother or even from your father who's in prison does not even it's
Doesn't compare,
it doesn't compare.
because
Yeah.
you can't come and get them and say, we're going out for the weekend. I'm taking them home for the weekend.
Right.
Or I'm going to visit whenever I want to, because I went to Indiana Academy, and they used to tease me because they would get on the loudspeaker and say, Joanne, your mom is here, because every Sunday she was driving up to and then they would tease me. Then I got teased because she made my room, it looked like my dorm room was like my house bedroom, and so it was. But you can't do that in prison.
No.
Because I was the only daughter, the only girl, and so she wanted me to feel comfortable, familiar surroundings, and then she missed me too, because that was my first time being away, going to school. So, but when they're in prison, you don't have that. That's not even an option.
No.
And it depends if they're on lockdown, if they're in solitude.
Oh, that's right.
So there's so many other levels too of prison that they could be in, that maybe they can have visitors over here, but over here
you can't.
Once a year maybe. So it's so much. It's so that's to me, that's just totally different. Totally.
Yeah.
Man.
And it's that balance, because some people need to go to prison. And experiencing having your freedom taken away, hopefully, is a deterror to not want to go back. So, so prison's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be comfortable. It's not supposed to be at the house and different things like that. But
where's my picture?
Right. But so we gotta just really look at who we are incarcerating and why we are incarcerating them.
Right.
And I think that those standards have to be reset. Because the Bible says, you spoil a ride, you spoil the child. And in most cases, there's a large group of people that I know of and that I'm connected with through Ceasefire Detroit, which is an awesome organization where gang members, they come and talk to kids and different things like that whose lives been changed, and they'll tell you, like, man, I don't never want to go back to prison. So I think that where we're really failing at is creating programs and stuff for people after prison. And so we sometimes give them no choice, but they get caught in that recidivism. They just fall right back into it. And that's because, okay, if you learn your behavior, then I should clear your record. You know what I mean? I shouldn't make it hard for you to go and live in society. You know what I mean?
Yes, to live life.
And so that's something that we really gotta look at. But prison should be uncomfortable. Prison should be, I've never been, but it should be something that people don't want to experience. And maybe that would be the decision, or the conscious decision that, hey, man, I can't come back here. And for a vast majority, that's the experience.
I did have a friend that unfortunately who went away, and because of the distance, a lot of us were unable to go. And so I happened to go. And although I was secured in terms of away from the prisoners, but I kept doing this, looking over, and because it's so many things that's going on. Like in the waiting area, before you even go see the person that you're going to, even that experience said to me, I don't want to be in here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
especially when they pat you down.
Yes.
Like you going to prison.
Exactly.
And then you hear the doors unlocking and the doors locking back, clink. And you go through that door and it's locking back, the clink clink, and it's that no.
And even the officers that are in that waiting room where you are, they're not friendly. They're treating you with discipline and very directness. And I think somebody went up and said, well, what's the problem? What's the holdup? I was like, no, she didn't. And they, and they got her together quickly.
I hate that. One of my older brother that we've talked about, he spent about 4 or 5 years in Milan, Michigan,
Mhm.
and it's a federal prison. And you know, like you said, it when I'm in there, I feel like I'm in prison. And it wasn't, you know, it's like lunchroom area. They'll be already sitting at the table. You know, you walk in, sit at the
Right.
table. But it's like when you want to go to the bathroom, you got to ask the you know the CEO for the key. And then when you ready to go, it ain't no I just want to go. You go in at certain times. Hey, if you want to leave, the next leaving is in 10 minutes. If you missed that one, you gotta wait for the next one. I mean, it's
Crazy.
no it doesn't make me feel good at all. You know what I mean? So and I'm not even there. I'm just there to visit.
To
You know what I
visit.
mean?
Right.
And it doesn't make it's yeah. And it's like and almost CEOs have to because you know if they unfortunately they're too nice or they let somebody slack, you know, that's how drugs get into prison. That's
Yes, it
how
is.
knives get into prison. So,
Mhm.
you know, those security measures, even though it doesn't feel good, it's extremely
They're there
necessary.
for a
It's
reason.
for a
Yeah,
reason.
For a
It's
reason.
for
for
a
a
reason.
reason.
I,
It's for
I
a
want to
reason.
go back to what you were saying with the reform. I was thinking when you said about Justin about changing some of the reform of prisoners and what they're doing, especially for mothers.
Hmm.
But I think we can also address the issue, Joanne, about for the children who are out here. Now, I don't know if there are plans or programs that support programs for children of incarcerated mothers, which I think I'm going to look into. But that would probably more is always better, especially in this case, that
Yes.
there
Yeah.
would be something put in place for the children. Because can you imagine, when the child is going to school and they're hearing stories about from other children going home to their parents, and
Yeah.
in school, kids just talk. Well, what your mommy do?
Right. So
And
there's
the way that might make them feel less than or whatever that feeling might
Mm-hmm.
be.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Um,
So I know of two organizations.
okay,
The first one is the SKIP program. Forgive
Mm-hmm.
me for the acronym, but it's like uh incarcerated something kids incarcerated parents called skip program.
mhm,
So my nephews were involved in that program once my brother were incarcerated, and
okay,
they do different stuff like once a month. It's like cohorts where they have speakers, they have encouragement, they have different things like that for them, support counselors they have for them, and then they like for Christmas and then for their birthdays they get gifts from their parents. So even though your parent is in jail, they buy a gift and they say, "Hey, this is from your dad. This is from your mom, who was ever
really,
incarcerated." Yeah, and that's a good program. The other program is actually one of my good friends. Her name is by the Sherelle Hogan, and it's called Pure Heart Foundation. She's doing some awesome work in the city of Detroit, partnering with the Pistons and a lot of different organizations, and they too provide support for children who have parents that are incarcerated. So those are two active organizations that I just seen 2 days ago. Pure Heart was looking. I keep saying Pure Heart. It's Purple Heart. Is it Pure Heart or Purple Heart? I think it's Pure Heart. I think it's Pure
probably
Heart.
pure heart.
Yeah, foundation, whatever. They were just looking for volunteers for event they had going on. So those are two organizations that are for the kids. Now I don't know if you were saying for the parents.
I was here for the children. Yes.
Okay, yeah, yep. So between the Skip program and Pure Heart, they're two awesome organizations that provide support. And Sherelle, she started the organization because her parent was locked up, and she's done great work in the city of Detroit. And they're just moving on. I think they actually have a house now, a home where
Okay.
they can house kids whose parents are incarcerated, and make sure they go to school and do different things like that. So she's doing awesome work. Definitely check out Pure Heart Foundation.
That's great.
That's wonderful, Joanne. So, as a mother, what kind of suggestions would you give first time mothers?
Woo.
Mm.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Because there's so much, and everybody, everybody is different. And I used to work with well, they call them doulas now, but midwives when
Okay.
I was in
Midwives.
Indiana.
Did you?
And so I used to work with a midwife and her company.
Mhm.
But it's new mothers. It's really, really, and everybody's so different. So you kind of have to take each person individually. I mean,
Mhm.
there's some across the board things about caring for children,
Right.
caring for your baby or whatever. But there, you really have to take each case individually. Um, so it depends on what, I mean, give me a scenario, give me what?
Well, what comes to mind is, uh, everything is new as a new mother, and you're being bombarded with social media and television shows and magazine articles and your friends of telling you what you should do, or how you should do that, or I read this, did you try this? So maybe just an overall, I guess you, as you say, it's really hard to just give a general blanket answer, and you just really have to see and find out what
It's
works
like that, you know
best.
what? Because we've heard that story. There's no manual for
Hmm.
parenthood,
Hmm.
and there really is no manual for parenthood. You have to, and each child is different. What they're going through. Do you have a colicky baby? Do you have a gassy baby? Do you have what is your child? How's your child doing? My thing I would say though is make sure that you still take time for you.
Ah,
I
well, there
know
you
it's
go.
hard.
Okay.
Mhm.
But make sure
Good.
that you still take some time for you, that you have some downtime. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Hmm.
Never
Good.
be afraid to ask for help from somebody that you can trust, somebody that even if they come to your house, I've gone to people's houses and they just went and took a bath
Okay.
while I take care. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Never be afraid to ask for help. Take care of you. Still know that you are important because if you're giving your all to this child or children,
Hmm.
what do you have left? And once you give your all, at
That's
some
it.
point you're gonna burn out.
Yeah, you
At some
will.
point you're going to get that fatigue.
Okay.
And then that's when you see or hear a lot of stories.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Justin,
they're not good stories. So
I can imagine.
yeah.
Now, Justin, with you and your wife, do you all associate with, or are there other couples in your circle that are parents?
Yes. Of course. Yes.
So, do you notice that any of, like, your wife and some of the other mothers conversing or talking about child rearing?
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
And then I ask that because, when you think of how time changes things,
Hmm.
in terms of what you would do as rearing your child, and I know a lot, the characteristic of a millennial, they like to do things in their own
Hmm.
way,
Yeah.
and I was just wondering if there is like a common, like an unspoken group that
Hmm.
that you all deal with, maybe ask questions, or even for the dads.
Um, I wouldn't say group or organization. I would
Hmm.
say no, but more of just being realist, you know. And I think that's something me and my wife pride ourselves on is just being realist. So we have conversations with people, and people say, "Well, how's parenting going?" or something like this. Instead of just saying, "Oh, well, it's cool," these generic answers that we give. I think that
Okay.
we give real answers, like, "Oh, it sucks right now." You know what
It's
I mean?
very
and
unusual.
and, and I think from that people are blown away, like, really, like, what you mean? And then when you explain, like, hey, what's going on, or what's the battle that you're facing now, then that makes more people more willing to talk and willing to open up. So I think that from our honesty, we've fostered a community of people who we just share with about it, and
Okay.
their thoughts or their feelings and stuff like that. Like we're in this season with potty training, so I have a 4-year-old boy. um who's at the age of 3 became potty trained during the day, meaning that if he had to go, he can go to the bathroom. He doesn't
Okay.
need any help with that. He can go, and but overnight has been the thing. He's 4, and so per about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we ran out of pull-ups, and my wife was like, "I ain't buy no more," and I was like, "I feel you. Don't buy no more." Hey, buddy, you know what that mean, right? It's time for you to go to the bathroom,
Okay.
whatever. So the first week was good. I woke him up. He goes to bed like 8:39. I woke him up at 12, and then I got up at like 5:30 in the morning to wake him up to make him go use the bathroom, and it all worked out. The whole week he didn't pee in the bed.
Okay.
Monday and Tuesday came around of the next week. He ain't pee in the bed. I ain't even have to wake him up. It was all good. Then Wednesday he peed on himself during the day. Thursday he peed on himself during the day.
Okay.
Friday he peed. It's like now the issue is at night. The issue wasn't during the day. But now
He's
all
turned
of
it
a sudden
around.
you trying to regress. And and just being honest about those things. And then when you be honest
Yes.
with it, then because everybody's parenting and everybody's thinking the same things, everybody's having similar aspects, and nobody wants to feel like their child is slow or not keeping up, whatever. So people be fearful, and they don't
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't want to share because they don't want to hear that your son is fully potty trained. You know what I mean? And he's not peeing in the bed or whatever. But when you open up and you be real with people and tell them what's going on, then I think that it opens the door for conversation.
Yeah.
But the best advice that I've ever heard given to my wife, just eavesdropping from somebody, and this person would have been a Gen X, not a millennial. They would have been a Gen X or Gen. Is it X or Z? It's
Both.
X, right?
It's both.
Both.
Mhm.
Depends
So
on
they would be
It's
in their like mid
Gen X.
40s right now.
So that's the X. That would be.
That's the X. Okay, the X. She was talking to my wife, and she said, for the next 5 years, just prepare for life to suck. And it's been the truth from the beginning. No sleep. You know what I mean? Not then from no sleep to waking up in the middle of the night to having a baby. And it's like, even though like you enjoy it and you embrace it, and saying that life sucks for the next 5 years doesn't mean that you don't enjoy being a parent, you don't enjoy being a
Right.
mother or a father.
Right.
It's just the truth is, me and my wife had plans yesterday. We had a wedding to go to. Our babysitter was ready to go home. So the plans that we had for Mother's Day Saturday night, we had to sit at the crib with the kid.
Okay.
It is what it is. It
It's
sucks.
what it is. And
It
that's what people
sucks.
need to hear people need to hear that. They need to hear the truth. Because for a lot of parents, it's like, and I'll never forget, I had a friend who thought she was she was OCD for real. I mean, everything was in place in that house. Everything was, I mean, if we would go over there, we put a cup down on the table, even though it was on a coaster. When you finish drinking, she would take the cup already and had washed it and put it. I mean, seriously, she was that.
Okay.
And when she got married and had decided to have children, she just knew. And we would sit there and we were like, okay.
You just wait.
She knew this was going to be like this. I mean, after the first one, it was like, oh my goodness, she tried that. By the time the second one came, it was like, you know what?
I'll do it differently.
Right. You just let go.
But it's tell the truth.
Yeah.
Tell the truth that it is hard. And I used to tell parents all the time, I used to tell mothers, look, those first few years, first of all, it's not a baby doll. And those first few years, you're on their schedule, basically.
Yep.
You're really on their schedule until they leave your house, kind of, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
The first month, the first maybe year, maybe they can be on your schedule because you can pick them up, take it wherever you want. But after a certain while, then you have to be on their schedule, especially if you have a bedtime for them. Once they start school, you got to make sure they get up. They have breakfast. You got to get them dressed. You got to get them to school, from school. Then there's homework. So now you're on, as a parent, you're on their schedule. Because you have to make sure that they do what they need to do. So it's not, and that's why I say it's not easy. It's not, everybody's story is different. prayerfully that we have a village, because it does take a village.
It does take a
It
village.
does take a village, and
It
that's
does.
people say, "Oh, that's an old." And somebody, because a young person told me that's old school, but no, it's not. And you will see that you need that village.
You
Just
gotta
to give
have
you
it.
some downtime, just to say, "Hey," just somebody to go talk to. I have somebody that calls me and look, and that, like you said, Justin, it doesn't mean you do not love it. It does not mean there's no gratification. It doesn't mean you don't love your children. It's just that sometimes you want to put them in that room and lock the door.
Yeah.
Say, hey,
Yeah.
it's life.
It's
It's
life.
life.
It's life. It's parenthood.
Definitely.
And there's a difference between all of God's creatures can have babies.
Mhm.
We're the only ones that can raise children.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
And we're the only ones that can be parents.
Mhm.
Because most
Yeah.
of God's creatures, after a few, the birds, what if they don't fly away? They're gonna push them out.
They're
You
gonna push
know,
them out.
the lions and tigers, and they leave them.
They leave them. That's
After
right.
I done taught you how to hunt and taught you this, then okay, you know,
You're on your own.
You're on your own.
Mhm.
But we as humans, you know, we have to parent, and there's a difference.
That
Yeah.
is-
Difference.
that it is.
Huge.
So, in closing, get both of your take on this. What advice did Sister Tosin give you that you still use today?
Ooh, so much. So much. Her thing was, you know, because we had some issues, my mom and I, but it was, you know, that talk that, you know what, there's no manual. There's no man, and all we can do is the best that we can, the best that we know how. And if you need help, get some help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out, but you know, just take it one day at a time and love as much as you can and do the best that you know how to do that you can.
Justin, Sister Heard, what has she said or told you that you still apply to yourself?
I mean, so much I can say. But I'll say this. I'll say she told me that that making how do I want to say this? I'll say it this way. That serving the Lord will pay off after a while. And it'll pay off better and bigger than anything else you could want and imagine in this life. And that has held true in my life. As I put God first, as I keep God first, you know, opportunities find me, money find me, I mean, just everything that I need, I could want, and I could desire supernaturally is added to my life, and I think that I'm blessed beyond measure because of it. So, my mom introducing me to Jesus Christ, and raising me in the way of knowing the Lord by far is done more for me. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Amen. What about you, Rufus?
So I would say Mabel Bill taught me, or what I always hear now, is to apply yourself. Always apply yourself.
Yeah.
And with Alice Bronner, it was always be your best. So whatever I do, and it's crazy, you know. Sometimes I hear something that my mother would say, and I'm like, I wasn't really trying to hear that at this opportunity, at this time. Or sometimes I'll hear something what Alice would say that'll come in my ear as an adult, and I'm thinking, wow, those influences are still so strong. You know, and not that I might be doing something that I shouldn't be doing, but I might not be doing something I should be doing. And I hear those voices, or I hear like Alice would sometimes just give you a crazy look, like, "What are you doing?" You know, or I'll have those moments where I'll see her face. So it's just interesting as you grow,
Yeah.
and this things will flood back into your memory to try to keep you grounded and just keep a balance
Yes,
because
sir.
it's no age. It's not like, well, this is just for the 20-year-olds. This is just
Mm-hmm.
40s or 30s or 50s. It's throughout your lifetime that you will hear things from your mothers or your mom
Yeah.
that will lead and direct you and guide you and make you think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Make you think. Alice always had a lot of books, and I would, and all of the books were about how to become a better person. Not
Mm.
all of them, but she had a nice collection. We had a nice collection in the house of books on self improvement, and I would go into the den and I would just grab a book and just read it, just maybe
Mm-hmm.
read an excerpt of it, and maybe grab another one. So all of those influences, they still are strong
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
even today. As a 39-year-old, Joanne.
And that's and I go back to that Shirley Caesar song. I had a praying mother.
Right. How about that?
Praying mother. And
How
I'm sure
about
we
that?
all had praying mothers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Praying. And I tell people all
True.
the time, pray for your children and pray over your children.
Yeah.
Even when they're asleep, go in that room and pray
Mm-hmm.
over them while they are asleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Because the enemy gets into the minds and he tries to. But yeah, while you're praying for them, even when they sleep, pray over those children.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was one good thing about both of those households. We with Mama, we would have devotion. For the Sabbath, and at Alice's, we would have devotion. So it was the same kind of thing going on in terms
Mm-hmm.
of spirituality and developing or teaching me how to develop a relationship,
Yes.
with God and the importance of it, of the relationship that you convey with God. So
Yes.
very interesting. And
Yeah.
what's so interesting about all this with three different perspectives from three dynamic people.
Yes, sir.
So listen, we're going to tell everybody goodbye. Now we're going to talk. You all don't hang up just yet. And
Mhm.
to our audience, thank you so much for listening and being part of Talking To. And we will see you next week.
Yes.
All right.
Peace.